we have to allow things to end, allow there to be space before we're jumping to trying to fill that space with something else. Hey y'all, welcome to Meryl's Mystic. I'm Meryl, and I empower witches, bitches, and dudes to complete themselves because you are the one that you're looking for. And today we're here to talk about the Sagittarius full moon. The Sagittarius full moon takes place the early morning hours of the 14th. That's Tuesday the 14th. It is at its fullest around 4:50 Pacific time and that 7:50 Eastern time. And then there's just a couple more days left of Gemini season when Cancer season begins on the 21st of June. This Sagittarius full moon should be a nice little, I want to say, energetic, subtly energetic energy to help balance out all the Gemini energy. Gemini and Sagittarius are sibling signs. They're opposite on the astrology wheel, and so they have some traits in common, but then they have some traits that are complete opposite. And as much as they're both intense energies, Gemini can be way more chaotic. Sagittarius has a little bit more structure in their traits. Both signs share a certain level of unapologeticness, which we need a lot of the time on this plane. And while both signs are very fun, Sagittarius can tend to look at the bigger picture a little easier than Gemini, while Gemini tends to stay very present in the moment. This Sagittarius full moon is a great time to let some stuff go. It's a great energy to manifest with and do any rituals that you can. I always recommend fires on the full moon if you have that capability. If not, if you want to do some letting go ceremonies without fire, you can either bury it in the ground or drown it in water and then bury it in the ground. Fire is definitely more recommended because Sagittarius is a fire sign. And this is a good energy to observe kind of what's happened in the last month since the last full moon. A lot has gone down energetically. And then it is a good time to accept your choices, accept how things went, accept your part in them, and then leave what you don't want and take what you can with you and move forward. These are great energies to not dwell in. They're great energies to keep you moving ahead and realizing that anything left behind in this last month was meant to be left behind, okay? Especially with all that retrograde. We will be out of the retrograde shadow the evening of the 18th. And then a couple days later is Cancer season. Cool, let's get into it. We're using the Modern Witch Tarot by Lisa Sturl. And I was feeling 2 oracles today, so we'll do the Shaman Dream Oracle and the Queen of the Moon Oracle. The Shaman Dream is by Alberto Villoldo and Colette Baron Reed, and the Queen of the Moon is by Stacey DeMarco, and there will be links to access all those decks below. Make sure you go watch your tarot scopes for June. The rest of the tarot scopes will be out this week. If you're watching this around the full moon, you can always watch the tarot scopes for your sun, moon, rising, and Venus sign. And if you haven't yet, go watch the seasonal reading for Gemini. It's the Lover's card reading. And then as we get closer to Cancer season, the Chariot card reading for Cancer season for all signs will be out also. And if I didn't say it already, thank you so much for being here. So let's see what this moon is bringing us. I was having a little bit of sometimes I can get a pretty good read on it beforehand, but I was having trouble kind of getting anything clear. And I wasn't too surprised because there's just been so much kind of chaotic energy swirling around that I've been in my own lessons is testing my own patience and connection. So the first card, or cards, we got 2 cards here, is always the general energy focus lesson message that the moon is bringing for us. So we got the 9 of Cups in reverse. These are general for all signs, so if something doesn't land, then you just leave it there for somebody else, and there's lots of other messages out there for you. And then the Everything is Fine card, which is the 10 of Swords in the Modern Witch Tarot, which I love it so much. It's actually extra card that you can replace your 10 of Swords with, and I was like, yes. So I like this because it shows that there is like some sort of ending coming, and I feel like it's definitely validating that little bit of messaging I got about accepting what has happened, especially this Everything is Fine card, and this acceptance of these 2 together is like that emotional acceptance, and then finally moving on from all the shit, basically. The 10 of Swords is always very daunting. In a traditional card though, there's a clear new day arising in the background. So that's the thing about it, is you have to remember we are at the 9 and the 10 here. We are near the end of this journey, of this situation that we find ourselves in. And I like that I really like that it came up together, because I think it's speaking to a balance of your heart and your head letting something go, that contentment of accepting that things just went the way they went. The result was meant to be. And I think there's definitely a lot of messages of trust that have been coming up in the last couple seasons, that you might not know what the outcome is going to be, but you have to trust that there is a reason for it, that there's a reason why this is, because since it's coming up with the 9 of Cups, and I don't know if I've ever seen these cards really come up together like this, it's very much this like I keep getting acceptance, trust. This is a card of emotional contentment. So there's this need to be, content, to come to terms emotionally in your heart that you did everything that you could possible in the situation, and there's a lot of things going on right now that it doesn't really matter even how well you did. Some things are just going to work out the way they work out. And I feel like too, with the 10 of Swords coming up, it's also trying to tell you, like, it's okay to admit that you've been going through it lately. It's okay to admit that things maybe haven't felt as smooth. They are starting, it does feel like things are kind of starting to smooth out, especially if you've been doing the work and you've been trying to be patient and trust that you're where you're supposed to be. Trust that the journey is leading you somewhere. It's validating too that you're near the end of taking a bunch of hits. And I feel like we've been approaching this for a while, and of course everyone is on their own journey, and everyone reaches this point differently. For some of you, it may just appear like things are going to be at the end, and there might be a couple things that come up before you are reaching that point. But definitely the balance of your head and your heart both accepting these things, like needing to logically accept that you can't, there's nothing else you can do about the situation, and you need to move forward. And then your heart also doing something so that you can accept this on like a heart and soul level. And the main thing that just popped up for both of those is like forgiveness. Full moons are a great time to also do forgiveness practices. One of my favorites being letter writing, letters that you don't send, letters that you burn under the full moon, forgiving somebody who's, done you wrong, hurt you, betrayed you in some sort of way, and there's unfortunately no reconciliation. It's especially if you've maybe gotten divorced recently, if there is like, it could be for anybody that you feel is also, you're still energetically thinking about, oh, why did this happen? Could be with a business. It could be with a coworker, a family member. It's just kind of writing essentially like a goodbye letter and just saying, I forget, and writing, I forgive you. Even if you don't fully feel it, it is a great thing to practice, because ultimately is to set you free. It is not for you to forget what they've done to you, and it is not for you to like put your boundaries down. If this is somebody that you have decided you don't want in your life anymore, that's fine. That's not what this is about. You're not sending these to this person. It's about working on healing and letting go of any grief, shame, hurt that could still be lingering, that you're like, man, I really don't want to be thinking about this person anymore. I really don't want to be thinking about how this situation didn't work out. I want to move forward, because it's feeling like these are situations that are not salvageable. Like when things are really at its end, it benefits us much more to accept the end so that we can begin again, than to keep wondering why it's over and keep thinking that there's got to be some way I can fix this. Okay, it's like that bad relationship, and you just like, oh, we're gonna get back together one day, or or maybe that person keeps making you think that, and deep down that they're not. They're just kind of holding on to you. It's that where it's like, oh no, it's gonna be okay. Or it's when you just can't think of anything else about, except for why did this happen? Why didn't it work out? Why? These are consuming you, because there's no like answers to them. And so it's kind of like you have to accept there's no answers right now, but you have to also recognize an ending, and you have to work on what is going to be best for you to move forward. Because whoever this is, whatever this is that you're leaving behind, they're probably not worried as much about you as you are about them. I also tell people, like, if they've gone through big breakups or divorces, you can always write like a goodbye letter to the life that you thought you would have with this person. If that's something that you can't let go of either, is like, well, you're supposed to do all these things, or they still owe me money, and we were gonna have, we were gonna do this and that together. Like, it's good to write a goodbye letter and a forgiveness letter to the things that just aren't gonna happen anymore. The children you aren't gonna have, the things you aren't gonna buy, the trips you aren't gonna go on with that person. Because then that will clear the path for you to find what's supposed to take the place of that. And there's this thing that keeps coming up right now, and I feel like this is probably going to tie into this next card of, we have to stop being so obsessed with filling space, that we have to allow things to end, allow there to be space before we're jumping to trying to fill that space with something else. Okay? Let's see. I'm just going to say death in reverse. Death in reverse. So again, this resistance to change, this resistance to endings, and allowing things to end, and then allowing there to be space to grieve, to process, to integrate, to grow, to heal, to be, to feel, to just be, be sad, be heartbroken, be you. No pressure. And no pressure then into jumping into other things. I keep getting the relationship like visuals, because that's like the easiest visual, easiest metaphor to grasp this. Again, it's like jumping into another relationship after one has ended. And trust, there are so many different situations out there for sure, but I've been guilty of it myself, but a lot of it was sometimes it's circumstantial. I get it. Things just kind of happen. And a lot of time, okay, I'm getting off track. This is about when you were in a situation that was like really not for you, toxic. There was a reason it had to end. So then so then you are like, okay, well, this relationship's over with this person, but I still want to be in a relationship, so I better go find somebody. Okay? I better go, it's time to start getting out there and dating right away. Those friends that are like, oh, you gotta, come on, you'll feel better, it's fun. And you're like, no, I don't. Especially if you don't want to. There needs to be space. And it's funny that the death card comes up because it makes me, I'm reading Many Lives, Many Masters right now because I've read other reincarnation books, but not this one's classic. It's a scientific look, more scientific look at reincarnation. It's really good. And when we die in our human bodies, our soul returns to the void at a certain point. Returns to the universe. And sometimes there's just space and quiet and darkness and comfort and safety. And you're just held within the void, and you have no, I don't want to say feelings, it's like no emotions, no regrets, nothing weighing you down, and you just know that you are waiting for the next thing. And you know that it's going to come when it's supposed to, and you trust that if I wait here and do only what I can do in this space, the right time will come, the right opportunity will come, the right instance will come. So give yourself that time, give yourself the space afterwards, after the ending. I know we live in this society was like an ending's a beginning, every ending is a beginning, blah, blah, blah. Yes, of course, we're in constant cyclical action energy. But time is also not linear, and it's just a construct. So there is no set time between the ending and the beginning. Even if it's stretched out, they're still attached to each other. So it does not mean that just because something ends, it's got to begin right away. That space is still is the ending and beginning. There are not a lot of hard lines in our universe. Like scientifically, this doesn't exist. Atoms that create our world don't even touch each other. But yet it feels solid because our brains have decided it is. So there's so much power in the space, in the quiet. So imagine that it's like almost like atoms, like the energy is still there, it's still touching each other. That's why I believe in cusp signs also. There's a lot of astrologists, so they're like, no, it's degrees, it's dun, dun, dun. It's like, well, the degrees are mapping, the sky, but it's also mapping energy. Then there's no way the energy is just stuck in they're like, oh, the energy is just gonna mind those degrees exactly. No. And the universe is constantly moving too, so Western astrology is completely different than Eastern astrology, because Eastern astrology moves with the way our planet naturally moves degrees wise, and Western astrology is a little bit more fixed. there's this energy here that it's like, here's your ending, here's your beginning, but there's still this aura almost coming off of it, and they still meet somewhere, but it could be really blurry in the middle. And they just kind of fuzz together. It's like the ending's red, the beginning's blue, and there's a nice little bunch of shades of purple in the middle that you got to go through before you get to those like hard moments. And again, it's about allowing that and letting that just happen for you and letting that be. Okay? And letting yourself be. Because you're changed now. Endings change us. Endings, I feel like, change us way more than beginnings. Losses change us way more than the wins do. We need them, of course, to feel good, to feel balanced, to remind us why we work so hard on this plane. But the endings define us more than the beginnings. The endings define what the next beginning is. Define where we're going. So if you're in this space and you still don't really know who you are, it's time to just let yourself be in that space and figure that out a little bit more. And you don't have to have it all figured out, but it's like setting yourself up for success for the right new beginning. Okay? So let it in, like, oh, maybe, I don't know. Like, no, it's time to end. It's funny, this death card from this, when I started using this deck, has not really come up except for once in the readings. So it's significant. And it's also the Scorpio card. Our last full moon was the Scorpio full moon. So it's interesting that I was getting that feeling of like looking back at what has happened in this last month. Scorpio season starts at the end of October. You might need all that space. Summer for yourself. Summer of the self-love. That sounds good. Summer of self. Okay? I want this for you. Let's look at the bottom of the deck, which is kind of the core, the deep energy of the situation. The Fool in reverse. Again, even when you're not moving, you are right where you're supposed to be. You are on the journey. Stop resisting the pauses. We really have to break this paradigm of the hustle and the, gotta get all this done and gotta get there. Once this is the product's finished, go to the next one. I keep seeing these celebrities glorified too that are like, I never waste 15 minutes in my day. Why be sitting around doing nothing when I could be learning something? Like, that is not a mentally healthy person, if you ask me. That is not a mentally and emotionally healthy person. Like, I'm not gonna name names because I am not a doctor. I am a lowly YouTube channel person. Whatever it is, I'm this. But I see these mindsets glorified, and I do not think that it's doing us any good. I saw one really, really big celebrity, very successful, good for her. But it's just like, well, it's because I work harder than everybody else and I get up before everybody else. And like these are not, I don't feel like these are good things to brag about. Like, cool, you have some physical markers of success, money in the bank, but are you happy? Are you at peace with yourself? Because if you were at peace with yourself, you could handle sleeping in once in a while. You could handle 15 minutes alone in the quiet, not doing anything, and just relaxing and enjoying being alive. This work mentality, unless you're Rihanna, because that girl, she know how to work, but she knows how to play. You don't want to be Rihanna. She works hard, she knows how to work, but that girl knows how to party and relax. Because then when she's not working, she's on a yacht, smoking a blunt, you know? Enjoying being alive. That's like the true enjoyment of success. I feel like those, like, I don't want to get into this, like, you know, your vacations are the sign of success. It's not that. It's the mindset of being able to kind of turn it off for a minute, of being able to have these rests in between, these pauses, to integrate, to recharge, to really allow things to end. Because truly, if you're just holding on, it's gonna hold you back ultimately. Okay, Oracle card number 1. This is the Shaman's Dream Oracle. Fortune's Wheel, luck and right timing. Hello. Waiting for that right timing. I have a feeling it's going to tell you the right timing is now. But also, take your time. Fortune's Wheel, luck and right timing, a turn of fortune. See, things are going to be turning around too. The Fortune's Wheel is a sign that luck has found the right timing in your life. You have the magic touch and everything turns to gold. There is nothing you can do wrong. You only need to hold what you desire as your intention and it becomes true. Do not waste this power on trifling things. Dream big, for surely this opportune moment will pass. Such is the nature of Fortune's Wheel. Use the creative power of the Fortune's Wheel for the benefit of others and the gifts will be returned to you tenfold. Use it only for your own gain and you will be left impoverished and with the bitter taste of squandered opportunity. Fortune's Wheel comes unannounced. Notice the early signs, the coincidental encounters, and the seemingly magic and synchronous events that herald its arrival. That call, that email, that invitation, the chance encounter was no accident. They all were choreographed by Fortune. Do not wait any longer. Carpe diem. Recall your boldest and noblest longing and invite it into your life. This invitation is all that is required. And the only reason that you can find and grasp these opportunities is when you give the universe space to bring them to you. Yes, when they come to you, seize them. But again, it's about trusting that if you do just a little bit of work, like minimal work, and trust and patience and allow, it's like taking advantage of the space and the time to allow things to end, to allow the new things to come to you, trusting that the timing will be right when it's right. Yes. I'm telling you what. If you feel like a lot of my readings lately are telling you patience, then you're probably correct, because it's one of our biggest, like, I think it's one of the biggest things that we all need help with. And then there's been a couple readings lately though too that are like, okay, you've done the work, you've waited around enough. Do it to it. Ooh, we got 2 of the Queen of the Moon. The blue moon, the unexpected. Because when you stop trying so hard also, and you stop doing, that's when you leave space for unexpected things to come through. Oh, and perfect. Waning gibbous 1. Oh, that's cool. The blue moon is a second full moon, and then the waning gibbous 1 is like, the numbers are not near each other. Oh, but this one is 43, that equals 7. This one's 17, which equals 8. And they're kind of this is the card waning gibbous 1 right after the full moon. Self-reflection. Now, our Sagittarius full moon is not a blue moon, but I like where we're going with this. I like it a lot. I noticed while editing that each one of these cards is a strong circle image.
more validation that things must complete so you can begin again. Things must come, quote, full circle.
Okay, 43, blue moon, the unexpected. No matter how well you plan, there is always room for the unexpected to occur. Build your resilience, as rare occurrences can happen. A visitor you have not seen in a long time may re-enter your life. The affirmation, I trust in myself and in life. Hey, what did I say? I trust in myself and in life. I love that. In old farmers' almanacs, a blue moon was described as the third full moon in a season that has 4 full moons. The newer and now more accepted description is that a blue moon is when there are 2 full moons in one calendar month. Either way, it is a rare occurrence and has inspired the saying, once in a blue moon, when describing an event or behavior that only happens rarely. The energy and power of the blue moon can be best taken advantage of by setting intentions on these moons of things that you really want but have never felt could happen. It's another card telling you to dream big. I refer to big wishes. Hello. The almost miracle stuff we would be both delighted and surprised about if it manifested. After setting blue moon intentions, though, don't sit there hoping it will just happen. Try to take clear, practical steps towards these big, seemingly far away intentions and help the universe along. Some of us love surprises, some of us don't. But I think anyone can go through life without sometimes having the unexpected happen to them. While some professions in particular, such as the military and medicine, try to plan for everything that could go wrong, life sometimes finds a way to outsmart the most thorough of plans. This is simply life. Although it is important for us to know where, how, and why we are traveling down a particular path, we should always make room for and expect the unexpected. The companion stone or metal is benitoite. I've never heard of that before. It says a very rare blue gem. Cool. Okay, last one. 17. Waning gibbous. I always think of Robin Gibbons. Waning gibbous 1. Self-reflection. Be curious about your own nature. Choose to turn inward, to quietly contemplate who and what you are and want. The more you know about yourself, the more you are able to steer yourself well. Know what you believe and why, yet be open to the development of new beliefs and ways of being. The affirmation, I am not afraid to look deeply at myself in all aspects. I am not afraid to look deeply at myself in all aspects. Both scientists and spiritual practitioners believe there is much benefit to be had in self-reflection. The process involves us thinking about what is happening, how we react, and make sense of it. It exposes our strengths and weaknesses and gives us information to make changes if we choose to. It gives us a small respite in the busyness of life and allows our brains to make sense of the chaos we experience each day. As self-reflection is something we would all benefit from doing, why don't we do it? First, self-reflection requires us to slow down somewhat and turn our awareness inward, something that does not come naturally to some, and especially not the highly extroverted. Starting small and maybe getting assistance with someone else as a guide can solve this. Second, some people are not sure exactly how to self-reflect and so do not try. To change this, examine the various ways to self-reflect during a regular 5-minute recap of the day as you commute home or before dinner. Sit quietly and think about all that has happened and your reactions to it on this moon every moon cycle. Record how you feel each day. There are many ways to self-reflect, and one will suit you. Third, some people self-reflect, but when they do, they don't like the feelings of vulnerability, anger, guilt, or even defensiveness this incurs. Why go there when it isn't pleasant? Here is where we grow our self-responsibility. Short-term pain will certainly be worth long-term gain if we do not ignore the elephant in the room. A regular practice of self-reflection allows us to intercede before problems get too big. We can, for example, catch ourselves before something gets way out of hand. We can apologize and make amends to someone for our mistake. We can catch negative patterns and stop them in their tracks. The theme of waning gibbous moons, of which this is the first, is the process of self-reflection and building resilience. Companion stone, tiger's eye, very cool. Well, that was just perfect, because that's literally, they're talking about the space, they're talking about allowing things to come to you, they're talking about trust, and the self-reflection piece is where that letting go is going to happen, where you can write those letters of forgiveness and goodbye to things so that you're not, it's not bogging you down anymore. This is all about letting stuff go that's like taking up this space and then allowing to be in that space. Reflecting on it, accepting it so that you can move forward, so you can become more aligned with what is meant to be with you in this life, what will fulfill you and help you shine as brightly as you can in this life. Okay. This was very cool. I love the way that this all lined up. I love this advice for you, me, us, everybody. Please let me know what resonated with you, and if you have any questions, if you do need a guide of self-reflection, I offer one-on-one sessions. I offer coaching, monthly coaching. Please contact me for anything that you may need. My links are below. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate your support. I hope that your full moon in Sagittarius goes well for you, and I hope that it can help you let go of some of the things that may have happened since the last full moon and in Mercury retrograde. I am also now on Patreon. You can support Meryl's Mystic for $2 a month, and I'm working on extra content for that, or I may be moving the all signs readings over to Patreon. So check that out. Make sure you go watch your tarot scopes for your sun, moon, rising, and Venus sign. Please be sure to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.